Hi, I'm Kelley Gardner from the Bindu, and I'm here today with Emily Carper. Emily is our Yoga Warrior teacher here at the Bindu, and she's going to tell us all a little bit more about the Yoga Warrior program. So why would a yoga student want to practice with weights?
Well, Kelley, that's a great question, and one that I get a lot, actually. And what I like to tell people is that our yoga practice, it's a balance of flexibility and strength. And what I've noticed personally a lot in the various types of yoga practices is that there's a strong emphasis on a pressing and pushing type motion. Think of moving through your traditional vinyasa. So you're in plank position and you lower down into chaturanga dandasana, and then there's a pressing into upward facing dog and a pressing back into a downward facing dog. And while that gets us really strong in the front of the shoulders and chest, unfortunately, it leaves the muscles of our upper back and shoulders vulnerable and weaker, and it can create muscular imbalances. So one of the goals in my class is to make sure that we incorporate more of a pulling type action so that we address working the muscles of the upper back, therefore strengthening the entire body and helping to bring it back into balance. Another really good idea for practicing with weights is that weight training is essential for the development of strong bones. It's simply by stressing the bones through this movement that the bones become stronger, therefore increasing our bone density. It's estimated that about 50% of women over the age of 50 are at risk for osteopenia or low bone density. So later on, they could go on to develop osteoporosis. So certainly strength training would be an essential part of their overall treatment program because osteopenia, if caught early enough, is completely reversible.
So what would one expect if they come to a Yoga Warrior class? Are they going to end up in a puddle of sweat? Is it that kind of workout? What can we expect?
Well, it really all depends on how you want to approach the class. If you want to take the fullest expression of the pose and use the heaviest weights that we have, then absolutely, yes, you will probably most likely sweat. But there are always modifications offered of all of the exercises that we do, and you can certainly choose lower weights. I try to guide and encourage the students on what a weight would be appropriate to use, but it's always ultimately up to you. We have everything from 1 to 10 pounds available.
Well, this is personally one of my favorite classes here at the Bindu, so thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Would you take a moment and just show us what we might expect in a warrior class?
I would be happy to. Okay, so I wanted to take the opportunity just to give you an idea of how we might incorporate the weights in various aspects of the warrior practice. The first thing I wanted to go over with you is how we would incorporate weights into a traditional vinyasa flow. So we might start out in something like a warrior one position. So spinning the front foot forward, spinning the back heel in and down. Squaring up the hips, we have the weights in both of our hands. So starting from a hinge tip position, heart open, we would inhale, draw the weights up, and then exhale, just tapping the shins down. Really conscious throughout the movement of how we move. So incorporating breath. It's really important that we continue to breathe throughout this practice. There is an emphasis on breath and alignment as we still honor the traditional roots of our yoga practice. Moving right into a warrior two position, just moving in and out of a warrior two position. You'll notice that when you add weights out to the periphery, it really encourages you to become conscious of how you move through your core. So we're constantly being asked to draw the belly in and up, and then keep the movements nice and smooth, flowing and moving on breath. And next series of exercises I'd like to show you is how we would statically move into a traditional yoga pose and then focus specifically on one muscle group. So moving into a side angle position, perhaps wrapping the back arm around. Want to anchor the elbow right inside the knee. Again, good alignment, so we're rolling the shoulder open, tucking the hips. Moving right into a bicep curl position. Again, exhaling on the exertion, so squeezing as we pull the weights in and up. Again, really focusing on the breath here. One tip that I like to tell all my students is that no matter what weight that you're using, add a 0 to the end of it. Imagine that's how much you have to lift and then lower down so that you're really moving with lots of precision and control. Next thing we'll do is move right into a triangle pose and adding a rowing type motion. This is specifically important to this class because this is an area that we don't touch on a lot of in a traditional yoga class. So again, anchoring the bottom hand, core in and up, moving to a rowing type action with shoulder extension. So there's some rotation here, but again, we want to squeeze through the upper back and then extend back down. So we're working the back of the shoulder and upper back, just helping to create some balance in the body. Let's do 2 more of these. And last one. Good. So as you can see, really you just need a basic foundation of the yoga poses. If you can do warriors and triangles and side angles, you can do this class. Just be ready for the challenge of adding some weight to it, but I promise it'll be worth the effort.